How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be doing a brake fluid flush. So you're going to want to do this every 2 years or 30,000 miles, typically speaking. And we're going to start by emptying out the reservoir here and pushing new fluid through it, because you don't want to drain and push old fluid throughout completely if you don't have to. So like this, it will make the process a little bit quicker. So like I said, DOT3 fluid will be used here in normal circumstances. For the everyday person, this is a perfectly fine, and brake fluid does accumulate moisture over time, hence the importance of doing this to prevent any premature issues down the line. So in my case, I'm going to drain this using the vacuum bleeder that I have here in the shop. Obviously, most of you won't have able to use this tool due to just not having compressed air. So I will provide an alternative tool in a sort of a vacuum pump with an adapter, so the brake fluid could go into it. Obviously, this makes it easier for me, but will take you a little bit longer if you're doing this at home. So let's go ahead and get started with the process. So first things first here, we're going to remove as much brake fluid as possible using my vacuum bleeder here. You want to try to get as much out as possible and top off with fresh fluid, so you are not spending too much time running old brake fluid through it, and you'll get the process done quicker. At this point, you fill with fresh fluid. We are using DOT3 fluid, although if you have a high performance vehicle, you may choose to do a DOT4 or 5 fluid at this time. So this is what it should look like as you're beginning your process here. Nice and clean fluid. You may not have been able to drain all the fluid, but that is perfectly fine. But this is the general idea you're looking for. So at this time, you are ready to begin your process. Now, I have a lift, so I don't need to remove the wheels. If you're doing this in your garage or your driveway, obviously you most likely will have to remove your wheels. Just make sure you are using safety equipment, jack with some jack stands. And like I said, once again, the way these bleeders are positioned, I don't have to remove my wheels. And you want to make sure you do have those bleeder caps on there, just to make sure you don't get any debris inside the bleeder itself and give yourself any extra issues down the line. You're also going to want to have some penetrating oil for the bleeder screws, just to help you free them up, especially if you're in a corrosion area like I am here in New Jersey. So you're going to want to start at your right rear caliper, then proceed to your left rear, then to the right front and your left rear. You always start at the furthest most point from the master cylinder, and proceed from there, getting closer and closer to the master cylinder. At this point, we are ready to begin the process of getting your wrench. Now in this car, it is a 10 millimeter wrench, so I will position a wrench in a position that I could easily break it free without having too much issues, depending on which way works for you. And you will attach your hose from your brake bleeder tool, whatever you are using at this time. Now once your hose is completely attached on there, nice and snug, you're going to want to turn on your brake bleeder. And once that is on, you're just going to wait for the flow of the fluid. So as we can see, it is going to start trickling here, and this is exactly what you want to do. You're going to want to do each wheel maybe 5 to 10 minutes, whatever is comfortable with you. Obviously, if you're using a hand pump, that will turn into a long time real quick, and you'll get some nice forearm exercise there. But, you know, all jokes aside, just let it run its course, 5 to 10 minutes on each wheel, and keep a tab on the fluid reservoir level. So you don't want to run dry and then have air in the system and have to repeat the process all over. Once you're done, you're just going to want to close the bleeder and move on to the next wheel. All right, so here we are at the left rear wheel. Same process, break the bleeder loose. You can see the flow of the fluid coming. 5 to 10 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes of with the hand pump, and then you are good to go. Close the bleeder and move on to the following wheel. So now we are at the right front caliper here, and there is a lot more space to work here with the bleeder. So we will go ahead and get this one going. Again, 5 to 10 minutes or whatever meets your needs, and proceed from there. So last but not least, driver front wheel, same process here. Hook up your hose and crack that bleeder loose once your machine is running, and let it go 5 to 10 minutes. Once that is done, you want to close it off, and you will be done with your brake fluid flush at the calipers at this point. So after you're done, you're also going to want to make sure you clean off the calipers if you did spill over some brake fluid, just so you don't get any drips anywhere on your wheels or whatever the case may be. But you can see here the reservoir is low but not empty. Now this car is in need of brakes. They're about 6 millimeters all the way around. So we're not going to top off the fluid completely. Now, normally, if you did brake pads all around and it was completely 100% of new parts, then you would want to top off the fluid, and you use that as an indicator. As the fluid goes low, that means the brake pads are wearing. Now that the car is halfway through the pads, we only put some fluid in there, a little bit more than the lower mark, in between the low and the high, just to make sure there's enough fluid. But if somebody does brake pads in the future and pushes in the calipers without retracting fluid from the brake fluid reservoir, it won't create a mess. So with that being said, hopefully this video was helpful to anyone out there, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.